Hello and welcome to the Intergard 251HS Global Launch presentation. My name is Richard Milgate. I'm the Global Product Manager for Intergard 251HS and some of the other anti-corrosive products we have on range. Let's start with some background. Intergard 251. We've sold 38 million litres plus worldwide. That's the equivalent of about 320 million square metres of steel covered with one product. The next generation, Intergard 251HS, builds on this track record. We've got increased speed, increased volume solids, and reduced VOC. Continuing with some more background, Intergard 251 has been the global workhorse epoxy zinc phosphate primer from AkzoNobel International Protective Coatings for a couple of decades. As I said previously, more than 38 million litres sold, 320 square kilometres, 120 square miles of steel that's been painted. To put that in some context, it's about 5 times the area of Manhattan that has been painted with Intergard 251. Intergard 251HS continues to be phased in as the next generation epoxy zinc phosphate primer, and it's got some enhancements over the previous generation. We were having a DFT range of 50 to 75 microns for Intergard 251. That's been boosted from 75 up to 200 microns. Increased temperature range, 5 degrees, no problem, and increased cure speed across the temperature spectrum. At the time of writing this presentation, we'd sold globally more than 1 million litres already of Intergard 251HS. Moving on to the overview of Intergard 251HS. There's 3 key features to Intergard 251HS. Versatile and robust application properties. The higher film thickness allowance has meant that complex geometries such as corners and so on have much lower risk of sagging. Less sags means less rework, means less cost and seal out quicker. The product's been sped up as well compared to the previous. We've got faster cure times across the board and reduced recoat. In terms of system flexibility, with the high thickness allowance, Intergard 251HS can deliver a C3 very high durability, that's 25-year system in 2 coats, and in C4 you can deliver up to high durability in 2 coats. So what are the details around Intergard 251HS? It's a 2-component, high solids, fast drying zinc phosphate primer and intermediate in one. 75% volume solids, 243 grams per litre of VOC. Now, depending where you are in the world, there's 1 to 3 colours available, grey, red or buff. In most locations, there's a couple of those colours. We've got 2 hardness speeds. We've got a standard hardener, which is on the faster end, and a tropical hardener to maximise end use. So in areas where we've got 25, 30 degrees continually, the tropical hardener can maximise the pot life there. It's an economical and versatile product ideal for oil and gas onshore, predominantly C4, C3 refineries and storage, heavy infrastructure, mining and power and OEM market. And we're rolling Intergard 251HS out now as a globally available product like 251. Moving on to the anti-corrosive performance. We've got some external exposure data with Intergard 251HS and painted with 990 over the top. These panels are pictured on the right of this slide. The system we selected for this test was Intergard 251HS, 150 microns, followed by Interthane 990 at 50 microns. We did some real-world exposure on these at the Port of Sunderland in the UK. That's been classified as CX environment, and from the photo there you can see the conditions the panels are exposed to. It's fairly rigorous in terms of the load on the coating there to protect the steel. On the very right hand side you can see only slight blistering on the scribe at 44 months, which is very good. There's some discoloration there. We don't believe that's due to breaking down of the Interthane 990. We believe that's from a local chemical plant and some pollution that may be landing on the panel with age. Product attributes. For those of you who are familiar with Intergard 251, I've lined up Intergard 251HS side by side to compare the 2 products. The 251HS has got a great improvement in solids. substantial reduction in VOC, nearly to the level of a high solids mastic, and the DFT range is upgraded substantially from 50 to 75 to 75 to 200. But where I think Intergard 251HS is best is in its curing times. So from the old product, 7 hours at 10 degrees, which was about the bottom end, we've gone to 4 hours recoat at 5 degrees. There's a time saving at 25 degrees as well. One of the slight disadvantages of 251HS is the pot life is reduced. So at 25 degrees, we've got a 1 hour pot life, meaning your steel needs to be ready before you start mixing up your paint. Now, if that's a bit challenging, there is a tropical hardener which extends the pot life slightly. And for those who are working in, say, 30 degree and hotter environments, you'll probably look to use the tropical hardener straight away. Here's an application example from 2017. It's the application of Intergard 251HS to a chute used in the mining industry. There are some areas of complex geometries, and the feedback from the applicator was it was easier to achieve coverage in the flat areas without any sagging in the more complex areas. On the left-hand side, we can see a picture of the freshly painted steel in the complex areas there with no runs or sags, but achieving the minimum 75 required in the main areas. And the photos are of freshly applied paint, so it's not actually a glossy paint, it's a sort of matte or low sheen paint, and when it's dried off, that gloss will go away. Now to look at the competitive landscape. So what makes a great product? Is it one that maximises productivity, has low VOC, has high volume solids, or wide end uses? Or is it a balance of all of the above properties all in one product? A little bit of comparison now between the competition and Intergard 251HS. We can see that we've increased the solids from 251 to 251HS up to 75%. That's kind of put us near the top of the playing field here. On VOC, Intergard 251HS, we weren't particularly competitive on VOC, but now with the new product, we're down close to the market leader. On minimum overcoat, again, we were sort of midfield. There's some very slow products out there, and now we've moved to a quite quick product, market leader against these competitors at 10 degrees. At 25 degrees, we were sort of in the middle of the field again. We've moved quite close to the front of the field there in terms of productivity. So a great balance of overall properties for Intergard 251HS against the competitive range. Moving on to customer trials. International Protective Coatings was pleased to be selected as the protective coating supplier for Yogyakarta International Airport in Indonesia. The new airport's got lots of steel, and in many situations Intergard 251HS was used as a primer under an Intergard product to protect the building in the event of fire. System flexibility. In this slide and the next, I've tried to concisely summarise ISO 12944 to show some example systems Intergard 251HS might be used in. For those who are unfamiliar with the standard, effectively it says how much thickness you need of paint before you can protect steel in a given environment. So for example here, if we had a C3 environment and we wanted to achieve high durability of 15 to 25 years, we need 180 microns dry film of our products. So it looks at Intergard 251HS at about 130 microns plus Interthane 990 over the top at 50 microns. Now you can reduce the thickness of the 251HS slightly if you replace that thickness with the polyurethane or the approved top coat. So we could do, say, 105 microns of Intergard 251HS followed by 75 microns of 990. That would be acceptable as well. In C4, it's a similar situation, but the total required thickness has gone up due to the environment being more aggressive. An example system here, say you wanted high durability, Therefore, you'd need 240 microns of paint in total. So we'd be looking at something like Intergard 251HS at 160 microns, plus the top coat at 75 microns. So 990 can be swapped out with other things, polysiloxane and other polyurethanes and so on. We can't do C4 very high durability with 2 coats, unfortunately. That's a 3-coat system. So you're looking there at, say, Intergard 251HS, plus a mid-coat of Intergard 475HS, plus a top coat again. The take-home message here is that 251HS, with its variable film thickness, is a very flexible product to have in the yard. We can do C3 systems, no problem, and lots of C4 systems with only 2 coats. Moving on to supply. At the time of recording this presentation, Intergard 251HS was available in the following geographical areas. That's Europe, South Asia, including Australasia, North America, and China. At the time of writing, we didn't have Intergard 251HS already set up and available in Korea and Japan, the Middle East and South America, but we're going to roll them out very soon in 2020. Literature availability. We've got a few documents out for Intergard 251HS to support and give you some more information about the product. We've got our data sheet, which most people will be familiar with. Performance test data, for those who are interested, it's available online. We've got our own website there on the right hand side, this presentation, and we've also got a video we made a few years ago about Intergard 251HS and some of the related products. Summary. Why choose Intergard 251HS? Maybe because it's versatile, robust application properties. Maybe because it improves productivity with very fast cure at 5 degrees and above. Or maybe because of system flexibility. Primer can be used in a heap of different systems, and C3 systems up to very high durability can be done in 2 coats, and C4 up to high durability can also be done in 2 coats. Or maybe choose Intergard 251HS because it's got a great range of properties overall. It's a very well balanced product. That concludes this presentation on Intergard 251HS. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and goodbye.